And I think that as a woman, I say every time I get the opportunity that for me, I think that maybe the challenges of farming are not peculiar, so to say, to women. Farming is challenging, period. I transited from fashion to farming, and I tell people farming is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And, but it's the most fulfilling thing. But like he said, truly, it's resilience. You have to be consistent, you have to be diligent, you have to stick with it. And like I said, when we were talking yesterday, I said that, the truth is there's a lot of lack of information. And so you make a lot of mistakes, you lose a lot of money. I mean, if I tell you how much money we lost in farming, people ask us, you have to be mad to have stayed in farming. So I think in lack of information, one day said, about associations, and I think a couple of people have mentioned that it's very important, but it's important also to be in relevant associations. I mean, I'll speak from my perspective in my country, right? So I haven't had a strong desire to be in many associations because, I don't see them serving the actual purpose, but I've been also in international organizations of farmers that has benefited me so much. And I've taken so much and transferred so much knowledge to my farm here and done so much based on what I've learned from associations. So it's very important to be in realistic associations. But I think that access is a big word. Access to everything. Now, when we talk about markets, right, I say that you have to have something to sell. And when Eric was speaking about the size of our lands, right, the level of productivity that we have in many countries in Africa is a problem. On 1 hectare of corn, for instance, in some countries, people get 14 tons from 1 hectare. In many countries in Africa, we are still grappling with 1 ton. So for me, I've had to take my time over the years. We've tried to look for ways to improve our yields, because that's the only way you can be profitable. That's the only way you can actually have something to take to the market, and then the quality of produce, like Eric was also speaking about, is very important, So all of that, proximity to the market, the location of the market, the location of your farm, those are all, but I think that in the final analysis, right, farming is challenging for men and for women, and farmers need all the help that they can. Telling my story for me really is me doing my part in helping agriculture in my country, doing what I can to say. The truth is, if you want to help a farmer, talk to a farmer, right? So you find that a lot of people out there know so much about agriculture, but until you actually get in the field and try to do agriculture, a lot of it is theoretical, and the practical aspect of it is so different from the theory. And, so I think that telling the story and openness, and I find that farmers are very open people. And farmers are willing to share, share information. And I think it's because we work in, so let's look at our countries, for instance. Agricultural extension is practically non-existent. And truly, like Wande said, we will give kudos to Corteva, because now the corn variety that I planted in my country, and I can say that was profitable, we got from it was DuPont. And then we had the agronomist come to the farm and show us, basically, look, do it like this, don't do it like that, and so on. So we got a lot of knowledge from that. And I think that sharing gives us that access to information, right? So access to market also is greatly linked to information. And I tell people something. For me, I think that market has never really been a problem. I've always found that, so when you're in farming, depending on where you are, so like, we're talking about aggregation. There are a lot of aggregators. And we live in a country where we import a lot of food. So if you produce locally what is good quality and the quantities that are needed, of course, there's a market. So I hardly ever really am struggling with market, but struggling with production. And we've also worked with smallholder farmers, right? Giving them access to market and creating a linkage where the government can come in and fund And you still go back to the fact that these projects don't always work the way they should because of the fundamental production problems that we have. So farming really is, it's a totality of things, right? So it's bringing everything from the production to the access to the market, to all the linkages, to the input that goes in, to the knowledge that is required, the education. So what Corteva does with Gibbs is so important, because you need to educate people on how to run an agribusiness, because it is a business, right? And we're in it to make money. But you know, because the information is not there, people also need to know the reality. I transited from fashion to farming because I was an entrepreneur who was looking to make more money. And I lost all the money that I had, you know, and started from scratch. So and then theoretically got stuck because I needed to make the money back. So I think that telling people the reality of it and having people with the experience. So we have university students. The other day we had 400 level university students come to the farm. And when I was done giving them a talk, I asked them the next day, I said, what do you think I studied in university? They are 400 level. And they said, oh, somebody said agricultural mechanization. Someone said soil science. Someone said agribusiness. And I said, I studied political science. And I learned in the field everything I'm lecturing you, a 400 level university student. So we give this information freely because we see the fact that food is essential for life. So any other business, if I was selling clothes or selling cars, right, I will be hiding my trade secrets. I will say, oh, this is how I did it and this is how I made money. But when people need to live, and when you live in Africa, you know, and places in Africa where food is a problem, you know, and it's supply and demand, and you find that the farmers feel a huge burden to do what we do better. So I think that it is so vital to have access to information, relevant information, and get that support for farmers. With the challenges that we have with growing crop, there's so many tools that we can apply, and one of them, you know, is basically the different types or breeds of corn. So whether they're GMO or, you know, or whatever they are, that enhance production, that are safe for consumption, you know, just the openness of farmers to be able to accept the different tools that there are and use them to improve the production and be able to produce more food using less input. At the end of the day, we produce more better quality food for the consumers. We need to have structured markets or pricing in quote. So just being able to have a pricing board, or because I mean the reason why most farmers store, especially with grain, is to leverage on the fact that when there's a less supply, there's going to be more, I mean a higher price, and just to be able to make more. You know, but the truth is also that when we have pricing boards, and in some countries where people can sell futures and so on, it really does help agriculture to have a more structured way for farmers to be able to produce and sell and be sure that they can sell at a minimal price. And that really does help when you do make the investments as a business to be profitable. The other thing that I wanted to say was also to start small. Just like Eric was saying, you know, start small. And so emerging, yes, we all want to be big time farmers, but the mistake that a lot of the time we make is that we go and start really big. So, I mean, I've started poultry from 12,000 chickens, and, you know, you now lose money and come all the way down and start over again. So really, really just to tell people that in order to do, you know, agribusiness, you need to start small and build from there on.
What did you have to give up, you know, on your journey of farming in order to succeed?
A lot, a lot. I had to give up a lot. I moved from, just like Eric said, like I've moved from the city to the suburbs. I've moved back to the city. I've given up a lot of luxury, so because agriculture is expensive, right? So buying equipment and so on, you make some money, you put it back in, and but if you stay consistent, it does get better. I'm looking at what Barbara is posting there. Does it get better? It gets better. And when you get better at it, it does get better. So if you spend time, like Eric said, if you apprentice, if you go somewhere and learn, and you start small and realistic. And I tell people, look for the right support when you start. So don't listen to the consultants who haven't done anything in practice, but have only the theoretical aspect to tell you. Look for associations where you can benefit. Look for companies that are providing free support, like Cortiva, who will give you the training and all of that to make you succeed. But you just be ready to give up a lot in the beginning, and it does come back. So it's not I mean, if it was all bad, we wouldn't be here till now. So yes, it will get better, but you do need to give up a lot to build any business anyway. The major break-in for international market is compliance, really. Just being able to show a track record of what you do and how you do it. And that is lacking for many farmers. So if you're able to put in the structure to show what you do and be able to get certified, whether with Global Gap or whatever is needed, and then there's a lot of, export promotion councils. It depends on which country you are, and a lot of, I think that one of the things that really does help is the international conferences that if you are able to attend, because if you're looking at exports, you also need to be able to travel to where the markets are. So if you attend any of the organic conferences or whatever that holds all over the world, that is a key place to be in terms of getting market. But just being able to comply and show track record, like Eric was saying, of this is how much we spray, or this is what input we use. We don't use fertilizers. This is what so that is all something that is lacking for us as farmers, that a lot of farmers don't take into consideration, that we need to keep records of those and comply with what is required